3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on the old show today, EV charging stations. Yes, the folks over at IHS Automotive is predicting that these charging stations are going to blow up over the next couple of years. Now, of course, I don't mean that there's going to be large explosions around these things. I mean the actual prevalence of these things in everyday life is going to become a lot more, as you're going to see a lot more EV charging stations all over the planet. And this is going to try to help the average consumer to maybe think that an EV car could become a part of their everyday life. EV sales have been pretty good over the past year or so, but we've seen a real downturn in the hybrid sales, which many think that hybrid owners have actually just switched over to EVs. But where are they going to switch to next? This may keep them in EVs and maybe keep EV sales on the climb. Another manufacturer that's looking to help this, keeping them on the climb, is the Ford Motor Company. Ford is actually opening up its playbook, a little bit of their patent stuff. We've seen this before from the folks over at Tesla and the folks over at Toyota, where they're going to open up their patent book and show off all the technologies and all the R&D work that they've done on their hybrid programs and their EV programs. Now, Ford's going to do something a little bit different, as they're going to try to recoup some of that money that they've spent on this by actually charging you for a peak inside. But this is becoming somewhat of a trend inside of the industry, where a lot of manufacturers are letting out a lot of their technologies, hoping that more manufacturers are going to build EVs, more groups are going to focus on EVs, and get EVs to someday being a part of the market that actually makes money instead of costing these manufacturers a lot of money. A lot of manufacturers have really been barking over the past several years that the governments all around the world are forcing them to build these automobiles, that they are losing money hand over fist in every one that they build. So this will hopefully help ramp that up and get EV sales back to where it's not just such a niche part of the market. Another vehicle that was definitely going to be a niche market vehicle we talked about in the last episode is the LS7, normally aspirated 7-liter V8 that was supposedly going to go in the Cadillac ATS. Well, since we've reported on that particular deal, Cadillac has vehemently denied that this situation has ever been in the pipeline. Now, again, with as many outlets that were talking about this, and always when there's smoke, there's fire, even though Cadillac dumped a great big bucket of water on everybody and on this fire itself, saying that this will never happen. Right off the bat, when I first heard this story, I got kind of excited, because I do when I talk about automobiles. But the thing I thought was, this doesn't make any sense. Why would they put the 7-liter in the ATS when they don't even put a V8 in the CTS? The more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, the brand new 6.2-liter supercharged V8 that's in the new Chevrolet Corvette Z06 was in the last generation Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 would probably find its home in the CTS, and they would keep the 7-liter inside the ATS. Furthering this little deal is the fact that the Camaro had a 7-liter V8 inside of the Z28, and I'm assuming that General Motors is already hard at work on the brand new Camaro, building a Z28 version of it, which probably will get that 7-liter again. That being said, too, the 7-liter hasn't been in existence for that very long. In fact, it was brought up through the C6 Chevrolet Corvette Z06 program, which was more on the plane of the folks over at the race team wanting a little bit different small block V8 to work with. Even though they couldn't run the 7-liter displacement, they had to run much smaller, but they wanted a lot of the underpinnings to be changed to make it a little bit more of a racer-friendly application. Look at the huge differences between the C5 and the C6 Corvette, and you'll see how much influence the race team actually had. That huge gaping grille. The windshield's actually raked back quite a few degrees. So a lot of other things, including that Z06 with a much wider track. Again, this was all things to try to help that race team win races. And I think that this still could be a situation here. That 7-liter that's in the Z28 could fit nicely into this, especially now that the Z28, or I should say the Camaro, and the ATS are both built on the same Alpha platform. So if it fits in one, in theory, it should fit in the other. But we'll have to wait and see. Again, where there's smoke, there's fire. When these rumors come out, it had to start somewhere, even though the internet kind of makes its own rumors sometimes. Last up on the list, the folks over at Porsche went to the old trademark office and trademarked the name GT5. I thought one of the funniest headlines for this particular story, the folks over at topspeed.com, said Porsche Trademarks GT5. What could it be? Which is a very, very good question. And I'm assuming that a lot of folks are going to be hitting up the old rumor mill on what just exactly the GT5 name could mean. Obviously, we know with the GT3, it's been to the 911, and the brand new GT4 that's in the Cayman and the Boxster platforms. But what could GT5 be? There's only 2 more vehicles in their lineup, one being the Panamera, one being the Cayenne. Both of their high-end versions are both called the GTS. But could the GTS name be replaced by the GT5? Or does Porsche have something all new in store for us? So we'll definitely have to wait and see. Exciting times if you're a Porsche fan. What could this mean? What could this be, as the folks over Top Speed started talking about? And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. If you want to jump on over to the Facebook page, the link's down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time and get the first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon. Oh, poop.